Man of the year, man of the year, man of the year. Welcome to the number one friendship podcast in the country. I'm Matt Ritter.
I'm Aaron Cairo.
Guys, thank you for building up our YouTube page. We're cranking over there. Check it out. Go to our man of the year podcast.com, buy some merch, buy some hats. It's summer. We don't want you getting melanoma all over the face. Nobody wants melanoma on their face. Kiro, I was thinking we give all these like tips, hacks, everyday stuff, but every now and then you got to go big. I wanted to talk about something that we did. You know, we do our annual trophy, but something we did on our 40th. We all, as a group, got together and decided that for our group 40th, we were going to go to Jacksonville, the site of the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. And what a weekend it was. And to my mind, it got us together. It was a beautiful bonding experience, but it also checked off what I like to call the friendship bucket list.
I love how Jack going to Jacksonville, Florida was on your bucket list.
I mean, we're not fancy guys. We're Plainview kids.
Unless you meant going on a boys trip was on your bucket list.
No, going to the world's outdoor largest cocktail party to Jacksonville.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about this topic of friendship bucket lists because I think it's all well and good. We're giving people tips on how to make new friends on the regular, how to maintain their friendships, how to build traditions. And I think, we've kind of dabbled at the fact that, we go big in our friend group with our trophy, et cetera. We've taken a lot of trips together, but I think there's something to be said for looking at your friendship backwards from like, I don't know, the end of days, whatever, when it's all said and done. And, did you do everything you wanted to do together? And if not, what's holding you back? So I wanted to just talk about the idea of like, hey, should we be building a friendship bucket list? If you have a friend or a group of friends, whatever that you have that they don't have to be lifelong. They can be newer, older. It's just people that you're going to be friends with for a while. And you have these ideas that you talk about doing together. I think a lot of people say we should do this, we should do that. And the reason that people listen to us and the reason that we are doing what we do so successfully is that we practice what we preach.
And once you have added something to your friendship bucket list, obviously the point is it a aspirational list or this is a to-do list?
I think it could be a mix, right? I mean, some of them could be things that are super like all the stars have to align kind of thing. But I do think some of them should be check offable, right? If you're looking back in 5 years and you haven't hit anything on your bucket list, maybe you're aiming too high or you're not putting in the work, right?
Yeah. I love that because also it entails being thoughtful about your friendships, right? When we think of bucket list, we should say bucket list is from a movie, just Jack Nicholson and Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, but is that where you think the term bucket list came from?
Isn't that crazy? It is.
No.
It is.
No. I've been saying bucket list since we were in second grade.
Matt, I'll continue talking and you go do your Google thing and come back and you apologize to me. Okay. So anyway, in the movie, they basically, I think the two characters are sick and they come up, it's kick the bucket is the terminology. Yep. And these are the things they want to do before they die. And as Matt will tell us in a second, that then spawned the term, which is things you want to do before you kick the bucket. Usually it's things that, you personally like. You want to go to Paris. You want to take karate lessons. Still waiting for Matt to apologize for me. But I think what Matt's talking about here is sort of extending into something you want to do with your buddies, which I think is like kind of the innovation here, which is where, thinking about what you and your buddies' experiences have been, what they could be, what you guys would love to do together. Matt's still Googling. He's still going.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong.
No, I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong.
It was already on there before. It was popularized by the film.
No.
Popularized. In 1993, the phrase showed up in a different context at a National Labor Relations Board. They said things should be in the bucket list. And then 2004, it was used perhaps for the first time in context of things to do before one kicks the bucket in the book, Unfair and Unbalanced, The Lunatic Magniloquence of Henry E. Pankey. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what any of that means. Anyway, um,
And it came from the French term parcours de combattant, literally combatant's course, or more loosely, obstacle course, and related to the medieval Latin percursus, the past participle of percurrere, meaning to run through a rove, if anybody cares.
yeah, I mean, literally, the Wikipedia page for the screenwriter says he coined the term bucket list.
Good for him for entering that in himself.
All right, let's talk about what is on our friendship bucket list, or what could be on anybody's friendship bucket list.
Right. So I think if you haven't taken a trip with a friend, period, you should just put any sort of destination outside of your city on that list.
I feel like that's not a bucket list.
Well, just any trip, it has to be specific.
Well, no, the bucket list is supposed to be big. You know, it's not like I
Right.
want to go to Boston.
Okay. Something you've both talked about. How about that?
Well,
Place
no, it's
you've
got to be something, grand.
Bigger? Okay. How about a big sporting event like we did?
I would say, well, you always bring up the Kentucky Derby, so I feel like that's got to be on your friendship bucket list. You always bring it up.
Definitely.
And
Derby's on my bucket list.
Yeah. I think that we should do something for the Olympics.
In LA makes it easy for us.
Yeah. Well, it's not. Well, it's the whole city's
How
going to be crazy.
convenient that our bucket list requires no travel.
Well, I mean, it's not like it's going to be easy to just pop into a game. We have to be planning. We can
Should we have all the boys out for 2028?
Well, that's what I was saying before you so rudely, said it's stupid, but that could be our 49th, be our 49th birthdays.
Yeah. Shh.
Yeah.
Zip it.
Yeah.
Zip it, pal.
You had a pretty good one yesterday when we were talking about it. Do you remember what you said?
No idea.
You said you wanted to get into a brawl.
Oh yeah. That's very me. First of all, I always wanted to put this in a movie. Like if I was going to write a boys trip movie, if we're going to write something, like I just always feel like nobody's ever done a good one where like these guys, not like Anchorman level, but like just a bunch of regular dudes just deciding to get in a brawl.
Deciding like it's almost like Friendship Fight Club.
Yeah.
Like you fight other friend groups.
No. You just go to a bar and
Can you even imagine our friends on either coast in a brawl?
We once got in a little bit of a brawl. Actually, this little segue into a bucket list trip that I always forget you weren't on. Post college out west, a group of people started a brawl with us because our friend who shall remain nameless wore fake guns to a saloon and they didn't take kindly to it.
Who drove on that trip? Whose car was it?
It was an RV.
You guys slept in an RV?
No. We rented it. Not like an RV. What do you call it? Like a SUV, not like an SUV, like the one that has like a TV in it and stuff. I don't know what you call that.
Oh yeah, an RV. Like there's like a bed in the back.
No, there were no beds. I don't think.
Wow, they rented you guys an RV. How was that?
No, it was a van. It was like a van. It was like a.
Don't you need to be 25 to rent a car?
No, it was.
It was a different time.
It was a different time. Yeah, it was because of us. That's the new rule.
Yeah.
But we did get in a brawl there. Somebody swung a pool stick at me, and I ducked and hit some person behind me. Real bar brawl. And luckily, this very nice Native American man who was our tour guide on our whitewater rafting trip was there and helped us out of a jam.
Jesus Christ. It's like a reverse white savior situation.
Yeah, he saved us big time.
God, why do we cause like ruckus wherever we go?
Well, you're saying that we haven't. I was the only time that I could think of that we got in a fight ruckus, but yeah, we were loud.
I don't want that on my bucket list because I'm so worried of like, that like you occasionally see like on the news, a bar fight, the guy throws one punch, he slips backwards, falls, dies.
Oh, yeah, that's not the way you want to go.
They call it a king punch.
Is that right? King?
Yeah. Apparently it was happening a lot in Australia, which is why they've like basically banned drinking.
I know it as the one-hitter quitter.
One-hitter quitter? Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. What do you think about I don't know if we've ever talked about this friendship matching tattoos.
So that's something that shout out my buddy Dan, Danny Longlegs, we call him. Dad friend in the neighborhood. He has matching tattoos. I posted his crew's matching tattoos on our page months ago.
Oh yeah. Remind me, like, what's their crew like origin story and what's the tattoo?
Don't question me.
Okay,
Give him
what's
a
the
shout out.
tattoo?
Now I'm gonna ruin his. Now I'm gonna ruin his shout out. I forget it says like TMT, the name of their crew. I can't
Oh,
remember.
okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. And how many people, like, roughly?
It's like an 8-person crew.
Yeah. I mean, that's tough. Anything that's like, I have a tattoo of my dad's initials. I think that's gonna be, gonna be fine. Tattoos with your friends. I mean, you never know what happens with the crew. I mean, we're hosting a
Right.
friendship podcast.
Right. I respect it. I respect it. Tattoo. Okay, so tattoo on the bucket list. What else should be on the friendship bucket list?
I've always wanted to do an epic trip, like Europe or something, or via private plane.
PJ.
Party on the PJ.
On the G5. I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, I think that's like from a 20-year-old
That
reference,
G6
but
is better, right? G6.
G6, yeah.
G7, G8.
Yeah, but I think that's, get the crew, get them on the jet, go to, I'm thinking of, it's called Hvar, HVAR. It's like the party island in Croatia. We probably have to bury you there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah.
So totally. And okay, so that's a good one on the bucket list. This is, I don't know if you know, this is another one of mine. Like, I've always wanted somebody. I mean, you're the last bachelor party, so it would have to be me convincing you to do this.
Was that a movie, The Last Bachelor Party?
Should be, right? I've always wanted to do a combine for our listeners.
Yeah. You have mentioned that.
Yeah. I don't know why people don't do that. For our listeners, a combine is what they put college kids through right before a draft for the NFL or NBA or whatever, and test all their skills. It's like a skills test thing. So I thought it would be great if we could get, like, I don't know, some washed up NFL QB to like throw us passes and like, have like a whole course where we could test our vertical leap, our 40-yard dashes, like all of it.
I feel like we could execute on that.
Yeah, it's doable.
But is that fun?
I think it would be amazing.
Are we drinking?
No, I don't think so. I think we want to see what we have left in the tank.
So, I mean, 40-yard dash. I love the thing where you jump and then you try to hit the slats.
Yeah, the slats. I love that. By the way, we were just laughing. Actually, a few buddies of mine, we all get, the same stuff on Instagram. Do you get the knees over toes guy on Instagram?
No.
It's so funny. There's this guy, knees over toes. I don't know his name. Shout out, knees over toes guy. He claims that he can get you dunking no matter what your height is, no matter how old you are.
What?
It's just all about the fact that we don't bend down far enough when we squat, and we don't walk backwards, and we don't work the knee muscles properly. We don't build enough strength around the knees. So he calls himself knees over toes guy. And he's like a 50-year-old man who can dunk from like a squatted on the ground position.
So many things there. First of all, proper squatting technique is knees like pushing forward over the toes.
No, he's saying go all the way down. You know how like the prevailing wisdom is you shouldn't go past 90 degrees on a squat.
Yeah, I mean, I go farther than 90 degrees, but he's like almost your butt almost touching the ground.
No,
basically.
Knees over toes.
Yeah, but your knees are always over your toes.
No.
Also, this strikes me as, and we've talked about this, like this guy already had a genetic great leap.
Completely.
And now he's like, let's sell to.
Here's how they get us, though. Every guy in the video, like very generic white guy. But now that, like, when I really look at it, now that I'm like starting to doubt it, I'm like, every one of those guys is at least 6'2". Like guys who had a shot at dunking. And I told Jesse that I want to go to this camp with my buddy Jeff Cerulli and my buddy Danny, because we both get the same thing fed to us. And she's like, so you think you're going to dunk? I'm like, well, yeah, I think if I go to the camp, I mean, that's what he's selling.
I'm sorry, Matt. It's a camp?
I think he's got a training program, but yeah.
Like IRL.
Well, I've always wanted to go to like a sports camp. Anyway, a lot of the stuff is like sports dream related. I would I'd love to go to knees over toes guy. That's on my bucket.
Knees over toes. I can't wait to dig deep into this charlatan.
Yeah.
have you ever gone to or like know anyone who's gone to like the fantasy camp, like Yankees fantasy camp?
Yes, I know a guy that does that every year.
Every year.
And yeah, every year he and his buddies do it. That's like their thing. He's a little older than us.
Got it. So he's like, yeah, but
But they're also like, there's the type of guy that wants to be around like professional athletes.
okay.
I don't know. I'm not into that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, as we discussed, I don't like any hero worship.
Right. Exactly. I don't like hero worship. I want to hire a washed up football player to throw us passes because we need somebody to throw us perfect spirals.
What if, can we get one of those machines that shoots the football out?
I would like to have that football machine too.
I feel like we can make this happen.
Yeah. Well, it's your bachelor party, so it's up to you.
Oh, no, I'm doing, it's going to be at my bachelor party.
It's the last bachelor party. Why? Why can't we do that the first day we get there? Get it out of the way.
The wedding I went to last summer, the guys from CrossFit, his second wedding, he's ripped. I mean, we've discussed him. He's absolutely ripped. He did a full CrossFit Games on his first day, and it was like pushing. These guys are the most ripped people that I know, and me and Lenny came like an hour late, by accident. So we didn't like people were getting, ripping their shoulders out.
Yeah. So what else should be on the bucket list? Non-sporting friendship bucket list.
Ooh, let's think about this. Like, it would be great to go to the Emmys or the Oscars together. Is that bucket list because we can't really control it?
I mean, that's tough, right? But I like it. We got to get on there. We got to get on there.
Yeah,
we got to get there.
I'd love to keep the Man of the Year tradition going so long that we need to get another level for the trophy, which we're getting to soon.
That's very bucket list. Also indicates like life stuff to bucket
longevity.
Longevity.
You think this crew is going to be like having an 80th birthday all together? Just like a huge.
That would be great. That would be great. What about bucket list? Like, I don't know. Is bucket list like buying a property together somewhere? Like a vacation?
You love going in properties.
Yeah.
I don't know. That doesn't seem that interesting. I like to have my own property.
Yeah, I know. Me too. I want my own. No, I said I like talking about it. I don't actually want to go in on anything with anybody. We were talking about how I think it's funny that other people always want to go in on stuff with me.
Yeah. I mean, it would be insane if we bought a horse. There actually is a friend group that bought a horse a couple of years ago.
Right.
Then we'd go to the Kentucky Derby. I mean, that would be
having a horse together is a good. I mean, you know that I had a virtual stable with a bunch of the guys.
Yeah. Whatever happened to those horses?
I think
the virtual glue factory.
Yeah, they got sent to the virtual glue factory. They got
guys. You may not
be like the end of Terminator, and he's sliding
right,
like the volcanic lava. There's one chip left. Yeah, those virtual horses. That guy named Doofy, he was the virtual horse expert. He lived in Australia. We'd call him at like 4 a.m. We'd wake him up. We're like, Doofy, we need a tip on this race.
Man, Matt is the knees over toes guy of virtual horses.
Oh God. Should we take a listener question?
Yeah, let's take a listener question. We'll be right back. Okay, guys, this is asking for a friend. If you have a friendship question or ethical dilemma, send it to us on Instagram, Man of the Year Podcast, and me and Matt will take a swing at it. Matt, you're up.
Hey, Matt and Kiro. Just started listening to the pod. Great stuff. My question is about FOMO. My friends are planning an epic 40th boys trip to Cabo for a 3-day weekend, renting a house, chef, the works. But honestly, I have 2 small kids and finances are a bit tight. I effing know I'm going to regret it, but I just can't see how I'm going to swing it. Am I being dumb? You're going to love this. Should I secretly sell some stock, cash out my 401k? Kind of kidding, but I know if I don't go, every convo for the rest of our lives, it's going to be about this epic trip.
Ooh, we haven't talked about FOMO that much on this podcast. By the way,
great.
I didn't go. Yeah, I didn't go on the high school graduation trip.
Still regretting it.
Was it high school or college?
College
Graduation trip. Do regret that a little bit. I read somewhere once, Matt, see if you agree with this, that you only regret things you don't do, and you very rarely regret things you do. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, like choices, right? People regret if when they are like looking back, they're like, I wish I had done this, I wish I had done that. I think that's probably more true than, hey, I shouldn't have done that. But I think, let's be honest, there's a few take backs within us. There's a few take backs within us too.
Yeah.
2 whoopsie daisies.
I mean, okay, let's break this down first of all. You know, listen, you got a family, it's a financial burden. Okay, let's be realistic. Is the who are you planning? Like, are you helping plan? Are your friends doing it unilaterally? Like, can we bring down the cost? Does it have to be Cabo? You don't want to mess up the trip, but that's my first question. Because Matt, you always say one of your best advice answers ever was, "We're all doing it together. We're not doing it."
Right.
So
like
the
that.
other buddy is at fault.
Here's yeah, I agree. Like, but again, like, we did Jacksonville, somehow managed everybody to get in on it.
Yes, absolutely. And like everything's relative, but in the scheme of
It was
boys'
pretty
trips,
inexpensive.
right?
Okay, I have not a perfect solution, but I have a perfect example of how I didn't go the first night, if you recall. I had a big meeting.
Yes, I remember that.
I had to, so I missed the first night of the 40th boys trip that I planned, which I don't want to say I regret it because that's life, but I still got to have a great time. So I'm wondering if it's a 3-night trip, like maybe just go for a night. Like, I know now that I have a kid. Hey, he's got a kid.
Hey, he's got a kid. Dad, you like when Matt brings this up?
No, but Jesse and I agreed. Like, I went to Sundance this year and I went to the NBA All-Star weekend. I didn't even stay for the NBA All-Star game because it was on Sunday night. And it was like, I really can only get away for 48 hours. So like, I know if it's just about the money, fine. Like, I understand if you just simply cannot afford it, it's tough to be like, hey, you got to go anyway. But if there's a way to bring the cost down, like what you're talking about, like go for a night, might be worth it to just be like, you know what? I need to be a part of this thing that's going to be a great memory.
What do you think about some subsidization?
Subsidizing, yeah. Subsidization.
In an early Coachella trip, we had the same house every year. One of the guys had been laid off and he's like, I just can't make it. And we're like, no. And we all like, 7 people. It wasn't that much per person. We're like, we're just going to cover it for you.
I like it. Look, here's our thing. We all know everybody's in different financial situations. We also know we feel embarrassed when we're not, in tip-top financial shape. But if you're close enough with these people to be on an epic 40th boys trip, then you got to be close enough, maybe not with the whole group, but with at least a couple of people to share what the reason is and, give them a chance to help figure it out. Because I do think a lot of times we've been in those situations. You'd be surprised how your friends will step up for you.
It is interesting just thinking about the planning of it all. Like, did the planning of it all start with we want to go to Cabo, or the planning of it all was like we need to do an epic 40th birthday trip? I just want to make sure the other guys are including our
Well, what I like about Cabo, I like about what they said is that they rented a house with the chef and everything, because that is a really great way to spend quality time with your friends. If you're going to go away, you're basically hanging out together the whole time.
Do you remember, I think Fireball Adam got a house and a chef, and he instructed the chef to make, I don't know how you describe it, chain restaurant inspired dishes?
Yeah. Wait, are you talking about his 40th that we just went to?
No, this was years ago. I forgot where we went. We went to like Temecula or something.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was like a Chili's, whatever, blooming onion inspired. Like, it was pretty great.
That's genius.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, private chef is great. You get to hang out.
Look, yeah, I don't know what the alternatives are, right? So you don't go, right? And you're going to feel regret. You tell your friends and see if maybe they offer to step up to the plate somehow and make it feasible. You try and do it on the cheap, fly Spirit, one-nighter.
Yeah.
But I think you do have to, I think you're probably going to have to tell somebody in the group, like, hey, I'm just not sure I could swing it financially.
Because when he says, should I secretly sell some stock, does he mean secretly from his friends or secretly from his partner?
Sounds like secretly from the wife. Well, I'm reading it.
Yeah. I don't know why you read it that way now.
Don't do that. Do not do that.
Yeah. Hey, use some points.
But I will say, like, the trip's coming up, right? and this isn't to sound like, oh, money is not, an object. It's very, it's probably the biggest struggle most of us face.
Yeah.
The trips coming up, like there are other ways to cut costs. Like I always think about that when I go out to a fancy dinner or something and I have a trip coming up and I'm always just like, damn, this trip's too expensive. Just don't go out for a month.
Yeah.
Like you just don't go out to dinners for a month and suddenly, if you literally did the math, you're like, oh, now I can actually afford these flights.
Honestly, dinners, just entertaining, going out is by far the most expensive discretionary thing that we spend.
Yeah. And I've actually found like Jesse and I now rarely go out to dinner. We're cooking like 6 nights a week.
Yeah.
And I do feel like, oh, suddenly like, all right, I can take it. Like we're taking a trip the next 2 weeks. And I'm like, all right, we actually haven't spent a lot in a while.
Let me ask you a question. My birthday dinner was a few months ago. It wasn't cheap. You guys paid for me, and I actually I knew, and I think I said something to you guys ahead of time, but like it wasn't a cheap place. I felt sort of bad.
Yeah, no, I was expecting some sort of pebbling in the mail.
Oh man. Okay, so I think
great. Listen, but we love to do it for you. So it's like also that's the other part of like, your friends, who loves to do that shit is fine with that.
I wanted to go someplace cheaper, and you guys were like, no, let's go someplace nice. I'm like, all right.
That was all within us. I think that's part of it too. Like you should tell some of your friends and like see if anybody steps up because I think they probably will, especially if they want you there.
Yeah. And I think, okay, let's say there's like 4 friends. He's the 5th friend. He says, hey guys, I don't know if I could, I can take this all on. Then I think the 4 of you take it offline. You say the 4 of us, okay, like we got it. Jim's got to come.
Right. And they may just be like, we got the house covered or something, or we got like, they'll make some sort of offer. And if you're the friend, I don't think you're obligated to be like, we got you. Cause that puts you in a precarious financial situation to be like, we got you fully for somebody else's whole trip,
No, wait, I didn't say that.
No, I'm just saying if you're the friend and you're thinking, how can I be a good friend?
Oh yeah.
Like, you're not obligated to, but if you want your friend there, sometimes we're all in different situations. If you can do it, I think it's really great. If you can all figure out a way to just pitch in a little to bring the cost down a little, it shows that you really want that person there and that you're really trying to make it work. And I think like, if you just go, hey, we're going to subsidize it a little bit. Like, hey, or like, hey, can I gift you some miles?
And I think the other guys should frame it. We talked about this as well. What did we say, Matt? Well, we had a great line. It was like it was like, you're all coming with us. Like we need you there. We want you there.
You there. Right. We need you there. We want you there. Right. So and I think that's part of it. Like if maybe he needs to hear that from his friends now. He's in that situation where I think he needs to hear from his friends, like, we need you there. And I think the only way that that's going to happen is if you tell them the truth of like, look, I'm just, I got 2 kids, finances. It's really hard for me to swing it right now.
Yeah. And
there's a chance that they're just like, oh, that sucks. See ya. We'll miss you.
Yeah. We'll send you some pics. Yeah. And I'll say to this guy's partner, if he has a partner, unless this is going to literally like destroy your family, unless he goes on these trips all the time, it doesn't seem like he does. Like, let the man blow off some steam.
Listen, I told you 2 years ago, I wasn't like almost not going to Luger's because Jesse was pregnant and it was just like, all right, this is not a right time for me. She's like, no, you're going, but you're going for 24 hours.
Right. Oof, rough. You only get to lose 1 jacket.
Right. Yeah. One jacket. For those who don't know, Matt, can't travel without losing the jacket that he brought with him.
All right. Did we answer that?
Yeah, I think so. So I think the takeaway is tell somebody, see if they'll step up. You've got some time clearly before the trip. So figure out ways to start saving money now.
Yeah, I love it. Guys, I was asking for a friend. If you have a friendship question, send it to us on Instagram, Man of the Year Podcast, and we will answer it on the show. Matt, what did we learn today about friendship bucket lists?
I think it's nice to have one because it's another way to kind of keep you guys engaged. of like, hey, there's, when are we going to do this thing? I don't know. There's something fun about having that in your friendship circle of like, a yearly talking point of like, hey, when are we going to do this thing? I'm going to take the fighting maybe off our bucket list after you made me picture the King's Punch.
Do you King Punch? Do you think a friendship bucket list should be written down, or is it an oral document?
Well, it's always better to keep things no record keeping. No, I think you should. I think you should text it around so like it becomes real. I always think like writing it down, telling people that's what makes it real. Also, again, too, what you're talking about, like Olympics, things like that. There's a finite. I like ones that have a finite, like time and place to them.
Yeah. You'll not be surprised that I've been doing a very algorithm thing. You just reminded me of it. So the World Cup is also coming to America. I love the World Cup. And I literally just texted the two friends, Evan and Jeff, who would go to a game with me. And I said, World Cup starts in 2 years. Mark your calendar.
Thanks for the invite.
Yeah. I know. Are you a soccer guy? You want to go to the World Cup?
I mean, World Cup's above whether you like soccer. We almost didn't get out of Paris. Was this Londy's wedding?
Yeah, there was the World Cup. Yeah.
We almost didn't get out of Paris because France was in the finals and every road was just like jammed up with people watching on these big screens that they pulled out in the middle of the road.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing. All right, Matt. Well, I hope that we will complete some of our friendship bucket list. And also, can we hear from our listeners what's on your friendship bucket list?
I want to hear.
Guys, thanks so much for listening. Always remember, be good to yourself, be good to your friends. Love you, buddy.
Love you, buddy.